Okay, so I'm going to start with, am I in the right order here or not? We're keeping everybody on their toes this morning. Is the London Times, the Times Ireland edition, is that the first thing that we should go to? If it's not, hey, there you go. Leinster fear game plan has been exposed.
Sky sources say Leinster game plan has been exposed.
Yeah, I getting that for screwing up the order, apparently.
What is the story here, Ger? You might want to tell us while you're reading those opening paragraphs.
Racing were pretty good at getting after Leinster, and now Munster watch that. Look, this is a 4 day out from a match press conference.
Yeah.
And what are you going to say?
Yeah, what are you going to say? I mean,
there's this big game this weekend that we want to write about. There's been this press conference.
Have they not exposed their game plan in every single big game this season?
Well,
like, do you not utilise your game plan on the pitch? Like, you watch every game and it's like, I can see with my own two eyes what is happening here between the first and the 80th minute. I can therefore see your game plan.
Do Racing offer a template to teams on how to beat Leinster? Definitely.
Who said that?
John Fogarty.
There you go, playing down their chances straight away. Cue tourism from the Leinster camp.
I know, it's great. It's like, finally, somebody in Leinster getting a bit of the Kerry Yara skills.
Well, it's more than Yara. It's basically saying, yeah, no, we're definitely at a disadvantage because of what happened on Saturday night.
I honestly think that everybody should have gone with Kevin O'Brien and his century yesterday for Pakistan. It's like an unbelievable achievement. So it's not like Pakistan were playing crap. No. They completely annihilated Ireland in their first innings. And Ireland are like, oh, Jesus, this is going to be literally the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened in world cricket if we don't, apart from Ireland obviously beating England, which, you know, we did.
Which Kevin O'Brien also did.
Yeah, exactly. But then all of a sudden it's like, no, I can do this. 100, thanks very much.
Yeah,
no bother.
I'd like to see what the world perception of Ireland cricket is at this point, because it seemed, I would suggest, there was this kind of like erratic stereotype of Irish cricket. It's like, oh, they can put out massive performances in one day cricket. They can do what they did to England. Look at Kevin O'Brien. I mean, he's a big hitter. He doesn't have the mental capacity to be cool, calm and composed and flick away a few balls for an afternoon and actually make his way up to a century. But yesterday, that's exactly what he did. So I'd like to hear what the English press are saying about Kevin O'Brien this morning. I'm sure they've woken up and are thinking to themselves, Kevin O'Brien can go a little bit further today. He can get to, I don't know, 170, 180.
There was a lot of patronising going on about, this is welcome to Australia. Yes, you want it's fine, but this is a test cricket. Chin's a direct lunch. And all of a sudden, they're like, well, screw you. I mean, Pakistan are probably going to win unless it rains today. The forecast's not great, so pardon me. Cheers to tears, heartbreak for the 17s as refs' controversial shootout decision robs O'Brien's young guns of semi-final chance. And then Robbie Henshaw could be out for the rest of the season with his knee injury. Tom Parsons undergoes extensive tests, but Mayo boosted by the fitness of Lee Keegan. Now, more than ever, Mayo need Lee Keegan to come riding to their rescue because Jimmy Guinness's piece, here we go, Sport Tuesday, Jimmy Guinness's piece here is like basically Mayo have no plan and no clue, and you wouldn't be terribly surprised they're actually primed to go out in the
Ireland tilt just yet. They're actually well off the mark where they should be in May. But then you get on to Mayo and it's like they are in huge jeopardy of crashing out in the qualifiers. Something that I didn't really believe. But there's a couple of things that McGuinness points out in his column today, just in terms of the way they approached the game, in terms of the way they were just happy enough to take pot shots in a huge game in the Connacht Championship, that suggests that if they come up against a similar sort of defence in the qualifiers, they could be in big, big trouble, especially if they're on the road.
Yeah, and they're more likely to come up against in the qualifiers. The Dubs don't quite have that same level of defensive structure. They've got a different defensive structure, and they're actually happy to go, yeah, go on, sure, go off there. But he's basically saying that it's a bunch of individuals in Mayo and that they don't have an established style or pattern that is worthy of the name of a style or pattern, whereas Galway are beginning to evolve theirs. They're still making a few mistakes and their defensive intensity isn't quite as good as it should be. But it did put me in mind of the Ask Me Tank .wordpress.com website last year, where this guy at Delta Bravo 64 on Twitter, how to write GA articles just like Jim McGuinness in 4 easy steps, and some of it's absolutely brilliant.
It's an article we're checking out. Is one on Kerry Pundit as well, particularly good. We need to get Delta Bravo back on the GAA writing scene. Just do another explainer on Jim McGuinness. 4 more steps. Like, he could write 100 steps and they'd all be funny.
He's back from China. 4 different steps.
4 different steps, exactly. More from Delta Bravo, please. That's my only wish for the GAA summer.
So I'm just going to give you the titles of these 4 sections. 1, set the scene. You're obviously an international jet-setting sports guru, so the thoughts on which you base your musings will no doubt have to come to you while mulling over a decaf latte in Schiphol or Charles de Gaulle Airport. This week is Glasgow. Part 2, it's tough at the top. Fair enough, you're a jet setter, but it isn't easy getting to watch the match of which you intend to proffer your opinion on from a tactical viewpoint. Don't be shy about telling your reader the difficulties of getting good Wi-Fi in a hotel near the shores of Lake Victoria, at which you're running a leadership symposium entitled How to Lead from the Back and Up the Middle, but not the Front. Part 3, that when I was in charge of Donegal bit.
There is one. There is when I was in
Donegal, we put a huge emphasis on anticipate the anticipator, but from 4 years of age, players are taught to focus on the man on the ball, although it's actually thought to focus on the man on the ball. Your attention is drawn to what you perceive as being the threat and is about to hurt you. The third man runner, the real danger, could be 15 metres away, about to take off. For me, it is the most difficult attack to defend against in Gaelic football. That's the real Jim McGuinness, not the parody Jim McGuinness.
Anticipate the anticipator sounds like the tagline for a really bad Tom Cruise movie, but I'm sure Jim McGuinness will get into movie directing very soon, so I'm sure that's what he's working on.
I know, fair play to him. He's bringing a new level of thought and depth to GAA analysis.
Oh, he is. I'm not denying that. It can similarly be the tagline for a bad movie. Like, let's not forget that here. Is that it?
Oh, is that it? No, there's some more stuff. The Examiner, we blew it. O'Sullivan's still haunted by sideline mistakes in All-Ireland semi-loss to Dacia. That's obviously... was it really their fault last year? I don't know. On the sideline. I just don't think Cork were ready yet. No,
pretty much. I mean, we're not... Was it a double sending off? They had on the game when Conor Gleeson gets sent off for the helmet incident. They had on the game, or the hurl incident. I can't quite recall the details of that game. It was the Austin Gleeson goal that won that game, not really the deficiencies of the Cork.
Austin Gleeson goal's good. Jamie Barron can also... And Triple Crown. Every day this week there's been a story about Aidan O'Brien or Dermot Weld on the front of the Racing Post. Again, just showing that Irish racing is killing it in England.
They're leading with the under-17s on the back of the Herald this morning. Robbed is the headline. Czech ref sends off Irish hero after a save to keep side in dramatic penalty shootout. You've also got Parsons in comeback Mayo vow, and Wicklow slam Dubs tie switch. So this is the Wicklow County Board, and John Evans complaining that the Leinster quarter-final against Dublin is not being held in Aughrim, obviously, after the GAA confirmed the title played in Portlaoise on May 27th. If Offaly had won that game on Sunday, the game would have been played in Tullamore, so Wicklow aren't happy about that inconsistency. On the back of the Mirror this morning, they're going with Red Rage. Angry Ireland boss O'Neill confronts ref after under-17 keeper is sent off in shootout. And it's all over for Big Sam, it says here. Everton boss will be sacked in 48 hours. So the former Hull and Watford boss Marco Silva, you can see inset there on the back page, is set to take over at Everton, which would be an outstanding appointment from an Everton perspective.
Does he keep Wayne Rooney? Because the Rooney deal they're trying to get done before they fire Big Sam, so the new manager doesn't have the tarnish of having got rid of Wayne Rooney. Wayne is like, oh, well, if Big Sam's not going to be here, I'm sticking around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Marco Silva would tolerate that level of crap, to be honest. The kind of judging your future on a club based on a manager is fair enough, but it seems like Rooney has got his head inflated to the point where he thinks he is back up to an elite level of striker in the Premier League, which he's not. He has got to be content with being a 15 game a season starting Premier League striker at best. And Marco Silva, you've seen some of the signings he's made in the past for Watford especially, and they've been outstanding. With a bit more of a profile in the club, with a bit more of a budget, as you'd imagine Everton would have, he can definitely sign a striker better than Wayne Rooney. So it'll be exciting times for Everton if Silva does take the job there. On the back of the Irish Daily Star this morning, they're going with the 17s as well. Scandalous, reads the punchy headline here. Farcical scenes as Irish keeper sent off during shootout. Dutch had been warned twice, and O'Neill storms to pitch to confront the referee. You've also got Nice One Centurion. That's Kevin O'Brien. And Blue Steel, that's Manchester City's champions bus there yesterday. It's also worth pointing out that Eamon Dunphy has written an exclusive column as a result of last night's scandal.
For the newspaper that he writes a column for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's, you know.
So it's fair play on getting him to actually put pen to paper. Common sense went out the window.
Answer the phone.
Yeah, so common sense went out the window. He says, this is actually a very interesting one. I'll be quick to say the penalty should fit the crime, and that, by the way, should be the maximum across all sports. Did the penalty, Jimmy Corcoran getting sent off, fit the crime of being adjudged to have moved off his line for a spot kick? Absolutely not. Now, this is the killer line. Now, this may be a yellow card offence, but I'm sorry, Eamon, I think you've just kind of contradicted yourself there. He didn't deserve to get sent off, but it did deserve a yellow card. Of course, Corcoran was already on a yellow card, so I think the punishment fits exactly the crime there in your own belief. But we'll get into that a little bit later on with Jamie. On the back of the Sun then, it's Blues want Poch. This may or may not be the Sky source that they were citing this morning.
Ah, it's in the Sun.
It's in the Sun.
Which is also owned by the same people as own Sky Sports.
So it could be a Sky source that the Sun is citing this morning. We can't be judging things from our seat here. Orange crushed, heartbreak for Ireland under-17s. Kevin O'Brien there as well. You've also got success at last. That's a pun on Ryan Sessegnon. Fulham won 2-0 on the night last night to go through to the playoff finals. And Bubble Decker, Raheem Sterling and Benjamin Mendy there on the left-hand side celebrating Manchester City's title success after 100 points, becoming the first team to notch up 100 points in the Premier League era. Then we've got Allardyce here as well. Everton set to let manager go and target Silva as successor. This is The Guardian, by the way. Sessegnon strikes it right as well there, 2-0 to Fulham. He scored one and he set up one last night in their 2-0 win against Derby County. And then finally, The Telegraph, they lead with Manchester City. City Centurions victory parade. De Bruyne says 100-point mark may never be beaten. He could be right. You've also got £150 million spree. Pochettino demands funds to overhaul Tottenham squads. We're getting mixed messages with Maurizio Pochettino today, and they may not be overly unlinked. They are definitely linked.
What?
The fact that he is trying to get himself £150 million off Daniel Levy, and he's suddenly being linked with Chelsea.
Yeah, it's the only way it's going to work for Spurs. They better get the finger out.